It's a pleasure for me to welcome you, Foreign Minister Koenders, to Jerusalem. I fondly remember my visit to Holland in 2012, and then the reciprocal visit by Prime Minister Mark Rutte when he came here, when he came here in 2013. I've had many visits to Holland. I've always been impressed by not only the shared history that we have visiting the Portuguese synagogue, which is, I think, one of the most beautiful synagogues in the world, but also the shared values, the island of tolerance that Holland was when it received the expelled Jews from Spain, the example of entrepreneurship and innovation that made Holland a small nation, a global economic force many centuries ago and still today. And we have learned from your example, and we cherish our friendship. It's important. There are many areas in which we can work together for the sake of the prosperity of our two peoples, and also for the advancement of the values that we share that are under attack. The entire world is now under assault by militant Islam. The militant Shiites led by Iran, the militant Sunnis led by Daesh, ISIS. We know we have to defend our lives, but also our values. And those values we hold dear, as you do. That's why we hold our friendship dear. I'll have more to say later today about the impending Iran deal, but our concern, of course, is that the militant Islamic State of Iran is going to receive a sure path to nuclear weapons. Many of the restrictions that were supposed to prevent it from getting there will be lifted. And in addition, Iran will get a jackpot, a cash bonanza of hundreds of billions of dollars, which will enable it to continue to pursue its aggression and terror in the region and in the world. This is a bad mistake of historic proportions. I think we will continue to have the job of defending our way of life, our freedoms, and our security. And I look forward to discussing these and other matters with you and how to further advance the close ties between our two nations, which we hold dear. So welcome to Jerusalem.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. Thank you for your warm words of welcome. It's a great pleasure to be here this morning, and I'd like to follow in your steps by highlighting the long-standing relationship and historic ties between our two countries. I think it's a relationship we cherish, and my visit here is a clear sign of the commitment to further our relations both in the economic, the political and the cultural area. And you mentioned quite a few examples of the historic ties we have from a long time ago, but also recently. I think, Mr. Prime Minister, as you said, my visit comes at a time of rapidly shifting dynamics in what seems to become an increasingly turbulent, violent, and volatile region. The Netherlands is fully aware of this backdrop, and let me stress that we have acknowledged and supported Israel's legitimate security concerns. I think later on today we will speak about Iran. We of course have to wait the exact news of what the outcome is. In our view, it could address one of the most pressing security risks in the region. I'd be welcoming to have further discussions on this. We think these talks could also be positive if it places significant limits on Iran's nuclear program. It should put in place stronger international inspections, allowing for better monitoring of the nuclear program. And it should relieve sanctions in a phased manner only, which would allow for snapping them back if Iran would violate the agreement. But let me be clear, Mr. Prime Minister, we share your concerns about Iran's nuclear proliferation, and we agree that Iran has not shown the best nuclear track record yet. The Netherlands has stressed time and again that a deal should not and would not be based on trust, but on stringent verification. And the success of any deal, which we will see later today, would depend on Iran's rapid and complete implementation of all requirements. The developments in the region also underline the urgency of new approaches to resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I think renewed confidence has to be built. Israel, the Palestinian Authority, and constructive Arab nations have a collective responsibility and a shared interest in reaching a solution based on two states living side by side in peace and security, and working closely with regional partners to jointly confront, which we also see as an enormous challenge to you and to the region, ISIS and radicalism. And the Netherlands is committed to contribute to this in a constructive manner, both bilaterally with you as long-standing friends and in the European Union. Our objective should be to preserve the two-state solution in all aspects, territorially, socially and politically, including putting a halt to settlement building. And we should work towards a favorable climate for peace talks and to create a credible political horizon for peace. Let me be clear, there is no viable, peaceful and democratic alternative to this solution. We think the current status quo is not sustainable. Also, Gaza is a matter of great concern, I think, to you and to us. It needs economic development and reconstruction to give people hope and prospects for the future. I welcome Israel's new approach of easing restrictions. However, we need to work together to prevent another crisis, and the Netherlands remains fully committed to assisting in a concrete, tangible and meaningful way, which is of course key to protect also the security interest of Israel. Finally, I would like to underline my concerns about rising anti-Semitism in Europe. This affects Jewish communities first, but in essence affects our societies as a whole. Fighting anti-Semitism is integral to defending our core values of freedom and security for all. The position of the Dutch government remains very clear. Anti-Semitism will not be tolerated in our society. I look forward to discussing these matters with you, Mr. Prime Minister, in our meeting, and I'm very much looking forward to the rest of my visit in Israel. I've been here lots of times. I've always enjoyed my visit. As you said, we have long-standing relationships, politically, cultural, but also in the economic field. You're one of the engines of innovation. I think we've worked together well in the bilateral fora we had, and I would like to thank you very much for your hospitality.
Thank you. Thank you
Very much.
I will say a brief response in English and then a few words in Hebrew on the matter of Iran. I want to acknowledge and express our appreciation for the efforts of succeeding Dutch governments against anti-Semitism. This is a rising, ugly tide, and you are wise and responsible to take the actions that you take. I would add that the founts of anti-Semitism, or at least parts of them, come from the strident attack on the Jewish people, their right to nationhood, their right to live on this earth, that are being fomented here, right here, not only by Hamas, not only by ISIS, not only by Iran, that openly calls for our destruction. Day in, day out, I've not heard a word of condemnation from important partners, a word of condemnation for these calls of Israel's destruction as the weapons of mass destruction are being discussed with Iran, and also, of course, regrettably, by our Palestinian neighbors, the Palestinian Authority, that passed terrible anti-Semitic incitement. So I value the position of the Netherlands and many other European countries on anti-Semitism. I think it should encompass the various sources of this disease around the world, and especially in our region. תודה רבה.